Have you ever felt like your mind is so full, but you're still empty? Like you're running all day, just to feel stuck by night? Meet Arjun. He's a young man with notebooks full of plans, apps full of reminders, and shelves stacked with self-help books. From the outside, he was everything the world applauded. Driven, disciplined, determined. But inside, he was drowning, not in failure, but in his own thoughts. Endless loops of what's next. Am I behind? Why am I still not happy? He wasn't lazy. He wasn't lost. He was simply full. Too full. And here, as the truth, most people miss until it is too late. You can be overflowing with information, yet starving for peace. Arjun's days were packed from sunrise to well past midnight. Earbuds in, podcast on, his eyes flickering between calendar apps and to-do lists. He called it growth. Optimization. Hustle. Every book he read claimed to hold the breakthrough. Every scroll on his phone felt urgent. Yet with every new insight he gained, he felt more pressure. Pressured to be better, faster, calmer. But when the noise of the world finally faded at night, he found no rest. There were only racing thoughts and that crushing silence that hides behind the noise. Restlessness wrapped around him like a blanket he just couldn't shake off. Then he heard a story about a Monka man who lived high in the hills, where the wind itself seemed to whisper peace. Something inside Arjun whispered too. Go. And so he did. It was a journey fueled by desperation, disguised as curiosity. Arjun's mind had become a battlefield. It was loud, relentless, and always on. Every hour of his day felt like a competition, not with others, but with himself. Am I behind? Why haven't I figured it out yet? Should I be further along by now? He measured his progress by his productivity, his worth by his output. He truly believed the antidote to his discomfort was more books, more habits, more planning. But instead of feeling empowered, he felt trapped. He was smarter, yes, but somehow more confused. He appeared calmer on the outside, but was always agitated within. It was like trying to fix a cluttered room by buying more furniture. The more he added in, the less space he had to breathe. Arjun wasn't lazy. He was doing everything he thought he was supposed to, but he was missing the one thing no one had ever taught him: how to make space inside himself. And soon, he would be handed a test, not one of intellect or willpower, but of presence. It's a test most people miss. Most people fail it, because they're too full to even see it coming. After days of travel, Arjun finally arrived at the monastery. Perched high above the clouds, the air was cooler here, quieter. It felt like the world had taken a deep breath and finally exhaled. The monk greeted him with a simple bow. His eyes were gentle, as still as a pond untouched by the wind. Arjun, unable to hold back, immediately launched into a flood of words: his goals, his stress, his routines. He spoke of productivity hacks, breathing techniques, and visualization tricks he'd learned. He asked what books he should read next, what meditations he needed to master. The monk just listened, nodding softly, never once interrupting. Arjun waited, expecting a sermon, a roadmap, a life-changing breakthrough. Something profound. But the monk just smiled and offered him a cup of tea. What would you say if you were given 5 minutes with someone who's mastered peace? Arjun said everything, and yet he'd missed what mattered most. Silence. The monk returned with a simple clay pot and began to pour tea into Arjun's cup. Slowly, quietly. Arjun watched, still waiting for the real conversation to begin. But the monk didn't stop pouring. The tea crept toward the brim, and then it spilled over the edge. First, just a trickle, then a small puddle forming on the table. Confused, Arjun stood up. It's spilling everywhere, he said, his voice laced with alarm. The monk looked at him gently, calm, unshaken. This, he said, his voice soft, is your mind so full that nothing more can enter? Arjun froze. The silence around them suddenly felt immense, closing in. There was no wisdom lecture, no spiritual technique, just stillness and a cup of spilled tea. In that very moment, something inside Argun cracked open. The noise in his head quieted. His frantic thoughts gave way to a simple awareness, not because he had added something new, but because he had finally let something go. He went from a mind bursting with answers to a heart that was finally open enough to listen. It was the first time in months he didn't feel that constant pressure to do, to fix, to know. He just felt the permission to be, and somehow there was everything he had been searching for all along. The monk looked at Arjun, his eyes resting calmly on the mess of spilled tea. To learn, he said slowly, sometimes you must first unlearn. He gestured to the table. To truly hear, you must first be silent. To receive wisdom, you must make space for it. Arjun sat down again, but he was quieter this time. Still, you filled your mind with information, the monk continued. But knowledge without presence is just noise. Power without awareness only adds more weight. He then pointed to a nearby pond, its surface as still and smooth as glass. A mind at peace reflects truth clearly. A stormy one distorts everything it sees. The lesson landed deep and wordless. Arjun realized he didn't need more content. He needed clarity. He needed space. The monk's final advice was simple. Begin each day by emptying your cup. Just sit. Breathe. Let go of the need to know, to plan, to control. Not because you've given up, but because you're finally making space to receive what life truly has to offer. Arjun walked down the mountain much slower than he had climbed it. The wind felt softer on his skin. His mind, for the first time in a long time, was quiet. He wasn't in a rush. When he got back home, things looked the same, but they felt completely different. His phone still buzzed with notifications. The world still moved at its frantic pace, but he didn't feel the need to jump and chase every thought, every task, every impulse. He began doing less, but with more presence. When someone spoke, he listened fully. He reacted to challenges gently, not with panic. He slept at night without that familiar weight on his chest. He hadn't changed the world around him. He had changed the space within him. Peace, he finally realized, isn't a destination you have to reach. It's what remains when you stop trying to hold on to everything else. Your mind is not built to hold everything. So let go. Empty your cup. Only then can life truly pour into you. Right now, just take a moment. Take a deep breath. Not to add more to your day, but to feel a little less, to be a little more. If this story made you pause, maybe it's time to empty your cup, too. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, like this video, share it with someone who might need it, and subscribe for more stories that speak to your soul.